Matthew's an old Seafordian. He was here, well, I won't say how long ago because that reflects his age, and he's very young at heart. He did a lot of singing when he was here in the chapel choir, and he then went on to study at the Curtis Institute in America and has since then been singing all around the world as a bass. Matthew came back because he wanted to work with some of our young singers. He's always been interested and keen to develop any of the next generation singers, particularly in his old school.
It was a massive sort of step in my education in singing, and I felt that he taught me so much in such a small amount of time, which I think it was about 20 minutes, so amazing. And he got me sort of thinking more about the emotion and how the emotion sort of links into the vowels that you sing, which is amazing.
Being part of the Matthew Rose Masterclass was a great experience. It taught me a lot about singing, but it also taught a lot how to perform. So Matthew Rose made sure that even though your vocals could be good, but it doesn't mean that you can connect with the audience. Even though you could have the best vocals in the world, if you can't connect with the audience, they won't feel any of the emotion that is portrayed in the song. I've learned a lot, obviously, from Miss Reynolds over the years, vocally, technically, how to sing. But if you can't connect with an audience, then you aren't going to be able to move them and be able to connect with them in a way that you want to.
What was fantastic was that Matthew immediately put the singers at their ease, and for instance the first singer up, Bella Denison-Foster, had to break the ice and be the first one, not knowing, having seen Matthew or not knowing him and how he would work with her. He was just fantastic. It made everyone in the room relax. Bella developed beautifully during her song, and he was able to get her to engage with the words and the text really well.
Well, to be a part of the Matthew Rose Masterclass was an honour, really, but it wasn't the first time I'd met with him. A few years ago we did another masterclass. I was more of a spectator, but I was able to do one song. This time I did my masterclass with him. It was much more cutthroat. I'm older, I can take it, and I got a lot of constructive criticism from him. It was funny, the things that Sarah had been telling me in my lessons for years came out of his mouth, and it just made me realise she's right.
One of the most interesting points that was raised was the fact that from an audience perspective, they were not used to seeing a singing lesson happening, which obviously is what masterclassing is. Actually working with an expert in your chosen instrument, and you're working as you would in a lesson, but with an audience in the room. Well, that's quite daunting, but from an audience perspective, there was an enormous amount of learning going on. People came out saying that they enjoyed huge amounts of knowledge from how Matthew was with the students. I know that one of the grandmas of one of the singers was heavily involved in a performance that was to do, as a young person singing a song about love, and Matthew very cleverly made her sing it to her grandma. It was really poignant and really touching.
When Matthew coached me, he wanted to work on my audience, how I put myself out there to the audience and how I felt about the piece. So he made me imagine I was singing to someone that I love, because the piece is very all about someone in love. So he put my granny in the centre of the stage and asked me to sing to her, which really helped because it's someone that I love. She really loved it. She was really honoured to have to sit there, and then Matthew Rose holding her camera and everything, and she just thought I sang really well. She was really proud of me.
Having Matthew Rose here, him being an old Seafordian, was amazing because I got to learn how successful he was, and it gave me some hope about being that successful myself, as I want to go into the same line of work. And hopefully, if I'm as successful as him, I can come back and give my own masterclasses, see how the place has changed, how young voices have developed. I think that would be wonderful.
Oh, it was a good feeling at the end, especially when you know that you've definitely improved throughout the 20-minute session that you had. The improvement I saw with all the other 6 singers was great to see, great to watch. He definitely improved all of us immensely throughout that time, and to be able to know that you've improved just through 20 minutes, and to know how you've improved and how you could now take that into your singing is good feeling at the end.
I was in the audience for the Matthew Rose workshop, and it was just incredible to see the difference between them doing it and then him helping my peers to
project it and show the emotion to the audience.
He taught me a lot about the emotion in the piece that I was singing. I've taken all the feedback on board and put it in practice in my singing lessons.
So when I go back to my singing lessons now, I keep on imagining my granny sitting there and singing to her, but I also have to look up, because if I look down, then I won't sing the correct notes, and that's what Matthew helped me with, so hopefully that all takes place in the exam.
I just want to personally thank Matthew for giving up his time and his energy to come down and work with our singers. It's definitely had an impact. They've all immediately, those who were being worked with and the singers who were watching, have all learned so much and are taking that knowledge back into their lessons. Seaford College is very lucky to have an old Seafordian such as Matthew, who is willing to give up his time and his energy to input into the next generation. He is having an enormous impact, so thank you.